Thank you, Dr. Ravishankar, to come to our show.
It's very simple. You just have to put your finger here. As I said, it's got a pulse oximetry kind of a construction. Once put it.
And investors and doctors and professionals, they showed interest about your devices on this VATA, Pitta, Kapha identification.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Really appreciate that you invited me here. TS show, the largest consumer electronic show of the world. It happens every time in the United States, and this time the Las Vegas Convention Center. More than 48,000 companies represented their products there, and we were based on the show's ratings, we were rated at 83. We want to make India the health capital of the world with the strength of the scriptures, with the strength of the knowledge derived from our own scriptures, translated into the language of modern medicine, and addressing the current problems based on the strength of the wisdom that our rishis or scientists have already generated. So CES gave us that platform to reach out to the entire world. I don't think anyone else in the whole history has represented Ayurveda in such a big digital platform.
Explain me, doctor, there are many Ayurveda practitioners and allopathy. They prescribe some medicine, they treat the patients, but some patients get cured, some patients are not get cured.
Correct.
Also, there is so many, because of the high cholesterol, some people are doing okay, some people they are not doing okay. Diabetic patients also, they have high blood sugar readings, but still they are doing okay, but some not. So what is the reasons behind this?
Why did we have to resort to Ayurveda is something that I'll speak first, and then you already pushed me to answer that. See, if you talk about diabetes, the American Endocrinology Association is saying that your average blood glucose should be below 5.5. American Diabetic Association is saying it should be below 6.5. American College of Physicians saying that it should be between 7 and 8 and never below 6.5. Because in their cohort, when they saw that a diabetic patient, if he has concomitant heart disease, 1 in 3 people in that particular trial, which is called as the ACCORD trial, they died of heart attack. 1 in 3 died. They had to stop the trial in the middle by intense glucose lowering below 6.5, which actually is the recommendation of diabetologists and endocrinologists, that your HbA1c should be below 6.5 is what they are saying. I mean, if you try and target below 6.5, according to the ACCORD trial, 1 in 3 died. Veterans Affairs Diabetic Association is also saying that they were doing good with 8.5 and or 9.5 blood glucose in HbA1c. So the problem is, friends, when Veterans Affairs Diabetic Association has investigated their patients, and then more than 70,000 of patients, and each of these standard bodies have enormous data that they collected, that they generated during the course of their work, and each of them are data driven. All are coming up with their numbers, and which number works for you we don't know. Veterans Affairs again saying when their patients tried to lower their glucose below 7, they ended up with hypoglycemia. Not only that, they had certain other issues with some people led to kidney failure. Some people it has led to liver failure or heart failure. I'm sorry, and some people it led to senile dementia or exacerbation of their Parkinsonism or other neurological conditions. Friends, this is a big problem that we have. And again, by the way, this is not Ayurveda versus allopathy debate at all. It is about what is working for each individual. Is there a solution? Is what we are trying to investigate. Not only this diabetes, but your blood cholesterol, LDL. We all know that there's something called a good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Good is HDL and bad is LDL. And that HDL, if it is low, below 40, then you would have a heart attack. If LDL is above 100, then you would have problems, heart attack. That's what is already known to us. That's why LDL should be low and HDL should be high. Now, did you know that Abergome research led by Abergome et al. In Danish Research Institute, represented by Danish Research Institute, they showed that in a certain cohort of Caucasians, Northwestern Indians, Sinds, Baluch Republic people from Iraq and Iran, they ended up with 95% of the 8,000 people who had their HDL high. You know what happened? 95% of them ended up with heart attacks. with high HDL. And when they investigated the plaque, they found HDL in the plaque. So which means your HDL is actually also could cause a heart attack. And low LDL, Malinsky et al. Has demonstrated in when he retroanalyzed about 125,000 heart patients, when they put their LDLs below 100, with therapeutic goal point, and they targeted triglycerides also to be pushed below 100, you know what happened? 75% of them ended with a heart attack. So the thing is, your low bad cholesterol and high good cholesterol is also causing heart attack. Now, which level of LDL and HDL should be good for you is something that we don't know. Today is a big problem. And moreover, diabetes and the cholesterol problems together cause more than 60% of the world's problems in the metabolic syndrome category. That is a problem we're trying to solve. So what we did was, we created, not now, about more than 22 years ago, we created models of VATA, Pitta, Kapha in experimental animals, and measured all that is possible to measure. What we found was VATA, according to Ayurveda, is supposed to be causing something called chalatva or hyperexcitability, and that's what we were able to scientifically demonstrate. And when hyperexcitability ends up in VATA tissues, hyperexcitability means the tissue is working harder and faster. When someone is working harder and faster, you're burning up or you're using up energy faster. So such people need more energy, which means such people would need more glucose, because all energy in your body is coming from glucose. See, VATA condition leads to enhanced blood glucose, but that is not to be construed as diabetes. Okay, this is the hypothesis that we are making. Pitta also the same thing. What Pitta does is, we found in experimental animals, it burns up glucose faster. When it burns up glucose faster, the body demands more glucose and the blood will maintain more glucose. There are metabolic pathways that were unraveled already. When mitochondrial activity is high, the intracellular ATP increases. When that increases, it leads to production of incretin and glucagon, aberration of this metabolism of incretin, glucagon, leading to increased production of glucose in the blood. Which is very important. If you reduce glucose in such individuals of the blood only through your glucose uptake receptor blockers or salt blockers, SLT blockers, what will happen? The body will trigger something called as gluconeogenesis, which means the body is producing more glucose from new sources, which are your cholesterol is the next in line. That is the next level fuel. And when the body produces glucose from cholesterol, what happens? The body will slowly shred the cholesterol that is in the blood. Then the body will mobilize cholesterol to be from your subcutaneous fat, from the deeper layers of the skin. And once that is gone from the limbs, then it encroaches your abdomen. And when abdominal fat is gone, then it encroaches the visceral organs fat. When the organs shed their fat, organs will fail. That was what was seen in this Accord trial. Also statins. Statins also showed that in the 92,000 patients who were retroanalyzed for usage of statins, this research team led by Hunt et al., a Norwegian scientist group, they presented a 92,000 page report in which they demonstrated that in a certain cohort of age between 40 and 60, if you add statins to them, what is happening? They ended up with early onset of senile dementia. They ended up with a new form of heart failure, the interstitial tubular necrosis leading to kidney failure, and these are all documented. So what he says is that if you reduce your cholesterol, then also you could end up with problems. This is what is Pitta doing. Pitta is burning up. If you give statins in a Pitta aggravated individual, you are actually causing damage to the internal organs. So and the Kapha is for hypometabolism. It's in Ayurvedic parlance, it's called as mandagati, which means your metabolism is sluggish. When your metabolism is sluggish, it's pretty straightforward. You need less glucose, you will produce less energy, you will feel lethargic. Very simple. That's what is happening in diabetes. So you see that there are three at least reasons for the glucose to get elevated. Not all reasons should be construed as diabetes. Is what the data is suggesting from our experimental Ayurvedic translation research, and also from the VADT and the Accord trials. This is being overlooked. So the key point that I'm trying to drive is that without knowing your Vata, Pitta, Kapha fingerprint of all of the 42 organs, you cannot treat. You will not be able to know how to personalize your cholesterol levels, blood glucose levels. Not only that, you wouldn't know what to eat, what not to eat. Because every food, according to Ayurveda, every food has a certain VPK syntax, VPK fingerprint. So, for example, brinjal, eggplant. Eggplant has 65% of Vata, 30% of Pitta, 5% of Kapha. The syntax of the eggplant, according to the Dravya Guna, is that it aggravates your Vata in the blood. Rakta, Vata Prakopa. If you already have Vata aggravated in the blood, then your eggplant is actually doing harm to you. Because any dosha excess is a problem. That's why eggplants are known to cause some certain hemolytic problems, and also are indicated, not known to, but they're associated with certain forms of hemolytic jaundice, certain forms of allergies and all. Why? Because we are not applying the appropriate VPK fingerprint to choose those foods that balance your VPK in different organs. So VPK fingerprint is the key here, and we through our research correlated Vata, Pitta, Kapha and also their subtypes to different frequency domains of HRV to the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and which we came up with a model that will not only give you your Vata, Pitta, Kapha fingerprint of all the 42 organs, we call it as a VPK42 fingerprint, but also it gives your estimated blood glucose, blood HbA1c, lipid profile, completely non-invasively. Okay, by the way, this might not be accurate. Don't construe this as a medical advice or a lab advice, but this is given just to give a play around device for you, so that you just, that the algorithm, even if it is 70 to 85% accurate, then what we would claim is the algorithm is accurate. So we are running clinical trials now. Once we do the clinical trial, we'll go full-fledged into the American markets, and that's our plan.
So by using this device, at least you will know the sense of what is your current levels of this Vata, Pitta, Kapha based on
absolutely.
it. Based on that, you can actually go for further and detailed screening and analysis, so that you can get an accurate result.
Absolutely.
So this gives a warning signal.
Absolutely, it gives. Absolutely.
Okay.
So, because we saw a very famous, according to me, Vata is to Pitta is to Kapha. If it is 1:1:1, it's an equilateral triangle. If you plot it against a graph, if values fall within the triangle, then you are healthy. If values migrate across this line, then you could be healthy. Or sometimes when I call that these they're called as death nodes. If the values go across this the vertex, the vertex of the triangle, if they go across the vertex of the triangle, you are going through the death. It could cause sudden sudden cardiac death, or it could cause sudden loss of life, and this gives warning signals. So this is a beautiful. Of course, it has to go through several clinical trials, multicentric trials. We're working on it, but then at least we have some mathematical algorithm through which we can actually come up with understanding of your VPK, and through VPK we can get an idea of the rate at which the chemical reactions are happening inside the body. How do I know? Because that is the research that we did. So what will happen, you could ask, what will happen when you bring about a VPK fingerprint through appropriate diets, appropriate exercises, appropriate pranayamas, yogasanas, appropriate formulations of Ayurvedic herbs? What will happen is regeneration becomes spontaneous. Because we were the first in the world to demonstrate regeneration of heart in experimental animals, regeneration of brains in experimental animals, where we created a heart attack, where we demonstrated parts of the brain gone dead through our experiment, where we demonstrated regeneration of kidney, liver, pancreas and whatnot. So we did a lot of work. So all this is very, very algorithmic, and we generated a lot of knowledge, which is called as a polyscientific Ayurveda. And this polyscientific Ayurveda is exceptionally algorithmic. That's why I learned Python programming, machine learning algorithms to translate all these algorithms into a software. And not only this polyscientific Ayurveda was translated into a bedside clinical methodology back in India, and in more than 28,000 patients, we were able to demonstrate efficacy in end-stage patients. You name end-stage heart failure, kidney failure, liver failure, pancreas gone, or your some people were brain dead. We were able to help them. You name the disease, autoimmune disorders, refractory diabetes, refractory hypertensions, or refractory hyperglycemias. We were able to help such people, with 95% of them actually having improved quality of life. So this is very algorithmic. So this algorithm is translated into a machine learning algorithm. So the machine will now keep learning. It will continuously be with you in the form of this watch, or in the form of this pulse oximetry kind of a setup, which has a much more advanced sensor, has a very sensitive sensor, and also advanced sampling rate.
So explain us, doctor, how do we use these devices, and how do we measure the VPK VATA?
It's very simple. You just have to put your finger here. As I said, it's got a pulse oximetry kind of a construction. Once put it here, switch it on. The device will keep recording the data. There's a PPG sensor here. It transmits the data to the app. The app then sends it to the application server after 10 minutes. Then the application server runs the algorithm, gives back your feed into the app. And then it gives all the reports, your blood biochemistry, your VPK42 fingerprint, your a certain signs and symptoms or syndromes that you might have to rule out in the language of allopathy. And also it gives your blood biochemistry. As I said, it's not completely, it might not be completely accurate, but it gives an idea of where your blood glucose and lipid profiles are going. And also it picks up from the algorithm itself picks up what foods are good, what are not. What yogasanas are good for you and what are not. What for that particular point of time. What pranayama exercises are good for you and what are not. And what herbal formulations are good here, in which format, whether it is asava, arishta, kashaya, arka, vati, gutti, and several other formulations that are mentioned. More than 16 formulations are mentioned in Ayurveda. So all of them are, choose-picked by this algorithm, and it will prescribe to the to the end user. End user could be a proper fitness freak, or a dietologist, a person who wants to correct his diet, or an end-stage patient who needs continuous remote monitoring in a polyscientific Ayurvedic approach back in India, or he could be a doctor who wants to fine-tune his medication to his patient, because VPK fingerprint is a key for him. There are several myths that are going on in Ayurveda also. By improperly adapting the knowledge given to us in the Samhitas to the current times. That's also been corrected here. There are several videos we're going to make to educate people on this. Then we'll slowly take this mission forward.
So there are three different types of the machines. So this one is to wear it on the finger, the pulse oximeter, and that one is to wear
it like a watch,
so they can use the same. And this is for a
this could be in both B2B and B2C format. Now in a B2B it will be used by doctors, which will come up with very soon, in few months. And for now it will be ready for a B2C consumer. This is what will be. It looks much more lucrative, so we said this is what will go to the B2C consumer, as I already mentioned.
Okay. And also share with us, are these devices are so expensive, or is it reachable to the normal consumer?
It is absolutely reachable to normal people. They're not expensive, according to me, because you're talking about 34,000 rupees for this. Not only this, this is a cost of 47,000 rupees. So if anyone pre-books, the first 10,000 people when they pre-book, paying us 30,000 rupees, or appropriate amount of dollars, we are guaranteeing that 4 of your family members will get access to that. 4 people for the rest of the life. Number one. So you have your digital doctor assistant, your personal family digital doctor is available to you. I mean, all natural personal care, who's going to offer you all natural personal care. That is a caveat. And he also, 6 months of subscription will be completely free. So these are just 2 bonuses that I'm going to announce now. There are several bonuses because we want to take care of you like how we would do to our investors, because you are our investors. If we are getting enough, we need to bulk manufacture it. For bulk manufacturing, you know the costs are high. So if we get pre-booking done properly, then we'll essentially be able to deliver this. Not only this, investors are also being welcomed. There are several investor groups that we meet. We have the whole of next week. We have several meetings with the investors, and we are going to finalize one before I leave from here, and and scale it up, friends.
Okay, sure. Nice talking with you, doctor. And these are really advanced devices. To use for any normal consumer or the professional doctors or any Ayurveda specialist, anyone, so to understand what is the patient's Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and then based on that they get an idea on what actually to prescribe, what medicines will most effective to the patient. This is really a great device. In the next 3 to 6 months to see this device on everyone's hands. I wish a good luck for your journey.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.